Hi guys, what is up and welcome to the Theatre Lounge. Welcome back to everyone who's been here before and a massive welcome to everyone who's here for the first time. Here at the Theatre Lounge, I talk about everything theatre because I love this industry so much, but I also give my top tips when it comes to auditions, colleges and everything else that comes with it. I upload videos twice a week, every Tuesday and every Friday, so if you haven't yet, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down by here to keep updated with all of my theatre content, and remember to hit that little bell button to get notified when my videos go live. So, just a few days ago, I've uploaded a video about jukebox musicals and what I think about them and all my opinions about it, and
let me tell you,
I got some juicy opinions about that video. So I thought, why not create an unpopular theatre opinions? You guys sent me your opinions. I've asked for them on my social media platforms, so make sure that you're following me so you can be part of these videos in the future. But yeah, you guys went in, like God really went in, and given me all of your unpopular theatre opinions, and I've whittled them down because I do film on my phone, so I've got them all on my Mac over here, and I will be reading them and reacting to them right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I will be popping all these unpopular opinions all over the screen as well whilst I'm going, but let's start with the first one, and this is: Andrew Lloyd Webber is enjoyable and people just think they're not supposed to like him because that makes them feel smart. Interesting point. Right, let's start with the first bit. Andrew Lloyd Webber is enjoyable.
I have to agree.
I enjoy some of his work. As every other writer, composer, lyricist, I don't specifically love all of his work, but yeah, some of his work is quite enjoyable. I, for one, love School of Rock so much. I think it's a very good musical, and I love kids performing. I think it's quite good, and it's getting more kids into theatre because they're loving it and they're more likely to grow older with it, with theatre in general. So for that reason, yes, I did enjoy School of Rock quite a lot, but obviously there's musicals that I don't quite enjoy, and it's life, isn't it? Not every musical is for everyone. But I do agree with the point that people think if they don't like Andrew Lloyd Webber,
they're cooler.
For some reason. I personally don't think you're smart if you're just like not liking a composer just because like the theatre community doesn't seem to like them. So just have your own opinion. If you like him, you like him. I enjoy his work, and there we go. That's it. Right, that wasn't too bad, but let's move on to the next one and see what it is. So, next to normal was overrated, ... Sorry. Okay. I'm a bit shocked with this one, to be honest, because I actually feel like Next to Normal is underrated. I just think it's a very good musical, and don't get me wrong, it gets a lot of love. Like, a lot of people who are theatre obsessed will probably know about Next to Normal, and they do enjoy it. I think most people do enjoy it. I don't know if this person does, saying it's overrated, but I don't think it gets enough love, to be honest. I just think it's really good, and I really don't think it's overrated. Let me know what you guys think whilst you're watching this, if you think that Next to Normal is overrated or underrated. Right, moving on to the next one. School of Rock, Come From Away, Tuck Everlasting, In the Heights, Bear, and The Prom are so underrated. Okay, half and half I think with this one, to be honest, because I think some of these musicals are underrated and some of them are not underrated. Tuck Everlasting, Bear, and I would even say The Prom are probably underrated. Yes, I would say that. I'm not a massive fan of The Prom, to be honest, myself. Like, I haven't invested that much time in it. I do like it, I enjoyed it, but I'm not
A massive fan.
But if you guys have been on my channel before, you know I absolutely adore Bear. It's one of the best musicals ever, for me personally. That's what I think anyways. And yes, I do think it's underrated. I actually mentioned it in my underrated musicals, which I'll link just up here for you guys. I absolutely love it. If you're looking for new musicals, go and look at that video because there's some musicals that you might not know of. And I've actually made a part 2 as well, so go onto my channel and find them all. You will love these musicals. But back to this. I actually do not think that Come From Away is underrated at all. In a good way, to be honest, because I absolutely love Come From Away. Honestly, it is incredible. It is one of my favourite musicals that I've seen live. Definitely, hands down. I think it gets the love it deserves.
Oh, sorry.
Right, let's move on to the next one. West Side Story and Sweeney Todd are the best musicals ever written.
Okay.
Now, I love both of these. I love West Side Story so much, and I also love Sweeney Todd. I think it's a great musical, but to say they're the best musicals ever written, I think that's quite a strong thing to say, to be honest. I mean, We all say about our favourite musicals, don't we? Like, I would say that for me, Bear is one of the best musicals ever written, and Come From Away is one of the best musicals ever written. Like, thinking about it, I think that's quite a strong statement to make, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of musicals because we're all different people and we all like different things. So if to you, Sweeney Todd and West Side Story are the best musicals ever written, good for you. I think we need to back down with that phrase, if you know what I mean, because there's a lot of good musicals. Let's get juicy now. I can't stand Dear Evan Hansen. I really want to love it because it's so highly acclaimed, but honestly, I'm not a fan of the music and the concept of the show really bothers me. Then in brackets it goes, I've never actually seen it though, so maybe I'll change my mind after watching it. Right, I've never seen Dear Evan Hansen live myself. I haven't. If you want to buy me tickets and take me there, go ahead, because I would love that. But I love it. I am absolutely obsessed with it. It's one of my favourite musicals as well. By the way, please let me know how many times I say that phrase. It's one of my favourite musicals, just in this video, because I think it's going to be said quite a lot. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a great musical. As you know, as I've been saying, not every musical is for everyone. That's why there's different musicals, and that's why we all have different tastes. And that's why musical theatre is ever changing and ever growing, because people like different things. But what I do have to say is, don't try and fit in because it's highly acclaimed. If you don't connect with it, then you don't. It's not your problem, really. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And you don't have to think that's a bad thing at all. Fair enough, it's unpopular. But don't try and fit in and like a musical just to fit in with a group. Don't do that. Right, let's move on to the next. And it says, I don't get the Hamilton success. I don't like any of it and believe I've tried. I just don't get the idea of watching a 3-hour wrapped social studies class. The only thing I would grant the show is staging, choreography and set. But I certainly believe it's overrated.
Say what?
Right, so, my thoughts about this, before the 3rd of July, when Hamilton went live on Disney+, watch my reaction just up here as well. I wasn't the same, like, I granted it the success, because a lot of people love it, and a lot of people rave about it, so there's a success for that reason. But I wasn't a massive fan of the show before I watched it on Disney+. I've never seen it live, so I couldn't comment about it, but after watching it on Disney+, I absolutely fell in love with it. I agree with this person that they say the choreography is great, the staging is great, the sets are great. I agree, but I think there's more to it than that. I do not think it's a wrapped social studies class. If anything, it will be a wrapped history class, but I still didn't feel like I'm in school in a history classroom. Like, I think it's great, to be honest. I see where the success comes from, but that's just me personally. Like, as I said, we all have different opinions, and this is your opinion. It's unpopular, let me tell you that. It's very unpopular. A lot of people do love Hamilton, but a lot of people actually are not like that in tune with it. People don't like it as much, and that's fine. But saying things like, I don't get the Hamilton success, I would never say that, because if it's not for me, it's not for me, but it's for other people. So that's a bold statement, I would have to say. It's a very bold statement, but each to their own. After that Hamilton thing, let's move on to the next one, and that says, acting is more important than singing.
I'm so glad someone posted that.
Oh my god, that is literally the best comment
ever.
Thanks to you who posted this, and let me tell you, I could not agree anymore. Honestly, I preach that. Acting is more important than singing. I remember once I was in college and they told us, if you're in a show and someone tells you, oh, what a lovely voice you've got, that is not a compliment. And you know what? I live by that. In musical theatre, in musicals, we're trying to portray a story. We're telling a story. We are storytellers, so the acting is the most important thing. Fair enough, you've got auditions and you've got training and all of that to be a good singer, but I don't think that the best singers are actually all in musicals, to be honest, because it's acting. Acting is the main thing, so yeah, I think acting is more important than singing. I agree with you. Right, a bit different on the next one, and this says, original cast isn't necessarily the best cast. So I agree with this as well. The original cast doesn't have to be the best cast ever, but on the flip side, I see where people are coming from when they have a fuss about, oh, I've watched the original cast. I sometimes say that myself as well, because the original cast, they are creating these roles. Like, they've invested so much to get the role to where it is. I think that the original cast work really hard. I'm not saying that any other cast doesn't work hard, because obviously the second cast or the third cast actually have like bigger shoes to fill because they need to be as good as the original cast. And yeah, I just think the original cast actually put so much effort and they studied the character so much that, to be honest, if you're auditioning for a show that's running on the West End or Broadway, you can actually go and watch the show and you can get inspired by this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Let me know, because I see both sides to it. I know that the original cast is not necessarily the best cast, but at the same time, I give credit to the original cast at the same time. Oh, this was a series back to back. This goes, first comment, Cats is a good musical. Second comment, Cats is the best musical. Third comment, I really do not like Cats at all. Fourth comment, no, unpopular. And that is basically this fourth person replying to the third person. And you know what? This just made me chuckle and I could not put it in this video because Cats is such a phenomenon. It's on everyone's mind. Either people rave about it because they love it so much, or either people just flat out hate it. And you know what? All of this hate and all of this love is what's making this musical successful. There is such a massive debate about Cats. Is it a good musical or is it a bad musical? I don't think you can ever label a musical as good or bad. We all have different opinions and that is what it is. I personally think that musical theatre is art and you can't say it's good or it's bad. It's portrayed differently to everyone. But then if I had to put my 2 pence about the situation, I would say that
I enjoy Cats.
I like it. I don't think it's the best musical ever, but I don't think it's the worst musical ever. But then again, I love dance. Dance is one of my favourite things, and the dance in this show is absolutely insane. To be able to do that 8 times a week, that is hard work, and I credit all the actors in Cats. Right, let's move on to the next one, and this one is a bit juicy. Yeah! 6 is not worth the hype. The songs are okay, but the storyline goes nowhere. Right, so 6 is another musical that gets either lots of love or lots of hate. There's no in between. People are not like okay about it. They either love it or they hate it. I think that 6 is marketed well because they say it's a musical, it's a concert, it's a concerty vibe musical, it's a musical in concert and all of that. Concert comes up in every PR that there is about 6. And you know what? I agree with it. It is a concert. I personally don't think that it's like an actual musical that has an A and a B and it gets to that point. It is basically Henry VIII, 6 wives, and they all have their own story. And this is the interesting point about this musical, I feel. Because I feel like every song has a story that starts somewhere and ends somewhere else. But then obviously there are 6 separate wives and they've all had their personal experience with Henry VIII. So I just think that that is the musical side to it, the musical theatre side to it, that each wife has their
Own story.
But yes, I don't think we find out what happens from A to B, if you know what I mean, in a story in general. Apart from that, I don't think the songs are okay. I think the songs are absolutely banging. I love every song from that show. And
I love 6.
right, let's move on to the next one. And this says, theatre is an art, not a sport. Okay, I see this point because as I've been saying in this video already, I personally feel like not every musical is for everyone and we all have different ideas of the musical and it portrays different to every single one of us. And for that specific reason, yes, theatre is an art form because that's how we describe art. It's not for everyone, but it's for certain people. But then again, I personally wouldn't say it's not a sport because what actors do, what dancers do, what singers do, it's athlete based, it's very athletic. I personally feel like theatre is the one kind of thing that matches sport and art and puts them together and it creates such a
Beautiful thing.
all performers are athletes, at least that's what I think. It takes a lot of stamina, it takes a lot of work, and for that reason, I wouldn't say theatre is not a sport. I agree, theatre is an art form, but the actors, they're athletes, so does that make theatre a sport?
You know what I mean?
Right, this next one I actually loved quite a lot, and this says, Bernadette Peters' hair is the result of home perms.
No.
I just think this is really random, to be honest, because yes, I see your point. I mean, no one can carry it like her. She carries it brilliantly, and that's all that matters, to be honest. But I just think that when people ask you for an unpopular theatre opinion, and that is what you come up with, you love theatre, don't you? Because you don't have any other unpopular things, and that is great. That is gold medal to you who posted that. Honestly, I was chuckled. Right, let's move on to the next one, and this says, I think Sondheim is somewhat overrated.
You're hard.
Really? Are you sure? I actually don't know what to say about this one, because I don't think he's overrated at all. Like, he's not underrated, definitely not, but he's not overrated. He just gets the love he deserves because he's incredible.
I'm lost for words on this one.
All I can say is that if you think Sondheim is overrated, but you have not listened to Passion yet, speak to me after you listen to that, because that
Is a masterpiece.
Right, let's move on. And this one says, I think Idina Menzel is one of the most overrated performers of all time. Her voice, especially of late, is almost painful to listen to. Well, I kind of see this point. I think she's a bit overrated, to be honest, personally. I personally think she's now a celebrity that is getting work because of her name. Don't hate me, I don't hate her, because I think all that she's done in her life. Rent was amazing, If Then is amazing, I love Frozen so much, like it's one of my favourite Disney movies ever. I love Wicked, you know I love Wicked, but yeah, I kind of see this point. But saying all of that, if I could pay to go back to 2003, when Idina originated Elphaba, and I could watch her singing that live in her best time, I would easily do it in a heartbeat. Right, and then for the last one for today, this one says, I hate jukebox musicals. Okay, fair enough, you've got your point, you've made your points very clear there, that you just hate them, point blank, you hate them, but I just feel like we can't keep going on with this. Like, why are we still hating jukebox musicals as a whole? But when you take it as a whole, as jukebox musicals and other musicals, I'm pretty sure that no one likes every single musical ever written that is not a jukebox musical. I'm not being funny. Why, if you hate about 3 jukebox musicals, you say, I hate jukebox musicals? Some of them are amazing. Some of them are actually
Incredible.
So why are still people putting jukebox musicals as a bad thing when you can just judge them for their own musical? But there we go. Thank you guys for sending in your unpopular theatre opinions. If you want me to make a part 2 to this, let me know, because I enjoyed creating it and I enjoyed reading all your unpopular theatre opinions. Let me know what you think in the comments box below. If you've got any other unpopular theatre opinions, pop them down there as well, because I would love to hear them all. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, that I give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel for more theatre content. And remember to follow me on all of my social media platforms. I will link everything down below for you as well. And yeah, get your daily dose of musical theatre, and also be in chance of being a part of these videos in the future as well. But there we go. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Bye guys!